You're paying rent, you're paying bills, and now you're trying to save for a deposit for your house on top of what's left over, and it feels impossible. I got a letter from someone in that same spot, that exact spot, and honestly, the answer is not budget harder. It's something most people never tell you about money. This is Hello Misola, and you're welcome to another episode. Let us read today's letter. It says, Hello Misola, we're ready to buy our own property and are now trying to save up on our deposit, but between paying the rent, bills, etc., it feels like a long game. Any tips? Before we go on, can I just say that please, this is not financial advice. I am not qualified to give you financial advice, so I need to put that disclaimer on there. So I can tell you what I'm doing, and I can also tell you what I've seen so many people do, like family and every other person. It's so dynamic in nature, and as always, it's not a one size fit all thing. So I cannot come and tell you that this is exactly how to do it because your circumstances may be different. So it varies for everybody, but there are some general tips that can be really helpful to you. So before we go on, can I just say that I think it's also an exciting time. It's exciting. This is one of the major purchases that you would ever make because it's a massive amount of money. There will be days where you're like, am I doing the right thing or is this gonna happen? It's quite slow. But one thing I would say, I left this to say at the end, but I'm gonna say it now. Little drops of water make an ocean. So don't stress yourself. You're probably doing exactly what you need to do. Maybe you just need to add some little tips here and there or some little touches or even reduce because sometimes you might be doing too much. And one thing to take into consideration when you're looking at your circumstance is what is the cost of the house price that you're trying to buy? If you're someone who is living up north and you're trying to buy a property for 150,000, it means your deposit is relatively small compared to someone who lives down south and is trying to buy a house that is 475,000. But before we go on, can we look at the kingdom perspective and hear what God is trying to say to you at this point? Let God lead and direct you in this situation and in every situation that you find yourself in. Honestly, you should not compartmentalize your life as a believer. Every single aspect of your life, allow God to lead that aspect. So, what I'm trying to say is if you've not done this as a believer or a Christian immigrant and you're trying to save up for a house, it's time to include God in that plan because you were never meant to do any of these things alone. And if you try to do it on your own, you would realize that you're struggling. You're hopping on one struggle bus to the other. Just don't, please. It's so much easier when you commit it to God and ask Him to direct your steps. And besides, what's the point of trying to do it on your own when He has clearly said, I will never leave you nor forsake you? So the passage we're reading today is John 14:14. And it says, if you ask anything in my name, I will do it. All I'm saying here is ask the Lord to direct you and to lead you and grant you wisdom as you start trying to put money aside to purchase your first house. And when you do it, when you commit it to Him, don't waver in faith. It might sound like some massive thing and then you start doubting. Do not. Just believe that you have committed it to Him and He's faithful and just to do it. And one tip, do not try to help Him. Because when you try to help Him and you're trying to do things, then you're saying you don't believe that God can do this for you. Allow Him to take full control, to lead you and direct you so that He can take the glory at the end of the day when all is said and done. Remember that you just need faith that is as little as a mustard seed. Okay, so let's move on to the practical strategies. I have 5 steps for you because yes, you have committed it to God's hand. What is the action or what are the action steps that you can take right now so that you can get started and start saving up for your deposit? Step 1, open a LISA account, which is a lifetime ISA account. This is really good. The one I use is Money Point. And what is that? It's an account where you're putting in money bit by bit to try to save up for a deposit. What I really love about it, I don't know so much about it, but what I love about it is the fact that when you put in that money, it's only your lawyer, it's only your solicitor that can withdraw those funds. So you cannot say that life is life in and then you decide to just borrow something from there. Once it goes in there, it goes in there. And guess what? Any amount you put up to £4,000 in a year at the end of the financial year, they give you a maximum of £1,000. So if you put in £4,000, then you get 1,000, that's 5,000 already. And so if you put in less, then you just do the calculation. I think it's 25%, isn't it? So 25% of 4,000, that's 1,000. So you get a maximum of 25% of whatever you put in for that year. Is it Money Point, I think, or Money Box? I'll figure out what it is and I'll just leave it in over there. Now, for you to qualify for this, you have to be under 40 and you have to leave the money in there. So you cannot say that you want to buy the house in 3 months and then you do this. No, it's got to be in there for, I think, 1 year. This is something that if you're at the early stage of putting down money for your deposit, then you would really benefit from doing that. So I would say go and open a LISA account right now. You can even get started for as little as £10 a week. That's the thing. You don't have to have so much money that you're putting down. £10 towards your deposits. If you're also watching me and you're like, listen, yeah, I like the idea of this, but I've not even started doing anything, go and open a LISA account and start putting in money towards it. £500 towards your deposit is better than zero towards your deposit when you're ready. Step 2, create a budget and stick to it. The reason why we're having this conversation is that you want to be putting money aside. And yes, because we are immigrants, our moms and dads are not living down the road that we can just move in with them and say we want to save up the rent so that we can buy our house. You don't get that luxury. So what's happening is the money that is coming in, you're having to put extra aside on top of paying your bills. The best way for you to do this is to manage your money well. You've got to become a steward of your money. This is where God is saying, are you managing what I'm giving to you? So yes, this is the time for you to prove that you are grateful for what you have and you're managing it well. You're going to have to create a budget and stick to it. Why? Because it's going to help you manage your money. And how do you do that? The very first step to managing your money and creating a budget is that you need to know what goes in and what comes out every month. You need to know what you have. So if you're one of those people that does not know how much comes into your account and you're just like, no, you probably know how much comes into your account or you have an idea, but you're not really sure how much goes out of your account, this is the time to take that pen and paper, sit down, open your bank app and just calculate it. You want to know. You want to know what you're spending on monthly. I'm not saying cut down on anything. The very first step is, what am I spending money on? How much do I have left? And if I don't have anything left, realistically, what needs to stop? What needs to be reduced? Or what do we need to start doing so that we can save money here? Now, once you're able to do that, the next step is for you to now start putting your money into different pots. You're paying your tithe, you're paying your bills, your rent, feeding. It's not permanent. So sometimes some things have got to go, and sometimes some things you're like, no, this is a non-negotiable. I cannot do without it. This will even help you realize that, okay, can I really be putting money down for a deposit with what I'm currently earning? Or is this time for me to go and do something, upskill, get a better paid job or a high income role, and then we can now start saving for a deposit? These are things that you cannot categorically answer. You cannot just say, I want to save up for a deposit when you don't even know what you have. This is how you would know how much you should be putting into your LISA account. Step 3, it's very important that you don't rush the process. What's the point of rushing to buy something that would always be yours? You would get a house, you would buy a house. Why am I saying don't rush this step? If you carry out this budget, you do your income, your expenditure, you see that you don't have anything left, and then you're now still trying to put £200 a month when you know that it's eating into your essential bills, why are you beating yourself up? What is the reason for wanting to buy this house? That you're trying to go beyond what you can afford right now. Don't rush this process. If you then realize that I have a roof over my head, I'm paying rent, I'm paying all these bills, it's difficult to save up for a deposit, then we'll move into the next step. And step 4 is, what is the easiest way for you to bring in extra income right now? That's the question you ask yourself. And it varies for a lot of people, because I cannot just sit down here and tell you to go and get a second job. No, but you ask yourself, what is within your capacity? Do you maybe need to start doing a bit more overtime so that you can be putting that extra 200 aside? But saying that, I want you to understand that this is where wisdom comes in. How much do you need for a deposit? And how much hours are you going to put in that will give you 200? It seems like we're just going to be going round and round in circles here. So I need you to be very clear with what you're doing and make sure that you're hearing from God, right? Because sometimes some things that we're doing, you're just putting yourself under unnecessary pressure. Save, yes, but to put that timeline and say you want to be saving because 200 for a £30,000 deposit is going to take you forever. So these are questions that you ask yourself. But for some other person, they just need to start that business, right? And then for another person is, okay, I'm going to go and get a part-time role But in all of this, let me tell you the very first thing or the most important thing that you should be thinking about when you're asking yourself that you want to save up for a deposit. What is the point of buying the house? Can I afford the bills long term? And I'm going to digress right now and say, rather than trying to figure out how you're going to be bringing in extra income right now, that extra income is great. But what is it about your money story that you need to change? And if we're going to talk about money story, it's a whole different conversation, because if you ask me, how do I change my money story? I will tell you, what is your purpose? You need to get busy with your assignment. That is the way you change your money story. Where you're at a point where we're not talking about saving £200. You are abundant, you are wealthy, you have changed the status quo. You've changed the way people view immigrants. You're not just an immigrant who's just trying to get by, who's just trying to, no, you are busy in your assignment. You're right at the center of purpose, and money is not the issue, because there is a way you will be so busy and centered around doing the thing that God has placed you on this earth, in this country, in your current location right now, doing that thing, serving the people, serving the community. Or if you're not even a business owner, or you're not called to like people, serving the organization, the industry, the sphere of influence that you've been called to serve, that money is just a compulsory must have. It must come. And at that point in time, we're not now talking about saving for a deposit. This is my angle. This is the way I'm looking at it. So if you find out that when you're thinking about how you can make extra income, you're stuck and you're asking, how long am I going to be able to save up 200 a month to be able to buy this house that I need to buy here? Then we're probably talking about changing your money stories. Ask yourself important questions like, why am I here? Who am I called to serve? What is the thing that they need desperately right now? That's the very first step to understanding what it is you're supposed to be doing. And then step 5, leverage your network. Oh my goodness. How can I talk about this? It's so important. I know people who, when it was time for them to get their deposit, they had family, they had friends, they had a community who rallied round for them. And they didn't have to do this where they're saving up for 2 years, for 3 years. Their community gathered, put money together for them, and then they were able to go and buy that house and make their first purchase. Leverage the community you have. And if you're sitting down and you're looking at me and you're like, oh wow, those are privileged people, I don't have access to those kind of people, you be the person that will be there for another person and start building that community yourself. Build one, because you don't only need a community when you're trying to buy a house. You need a community, you need people, you need a network of trustworthy people that would be with you every step of the way. Every time you need to do something, you need a community. Stop trying to do this life on your own. Do it with God, but do it with people around you. If you have a community of people right now who might not be able to rally around you, it's not compulsory that they do, but they will be able to provide support. They will be able to give you some sort of advice. You never know. A problem shared is a problem half solved. Say this to someone who you trust, to someone in your community. Them telling you to just go and do one thing or the other might put you 5 steps ahead. Build a community, have a community. Don't wait until you need something before you start looking for a community. Take advantage of the fact that, okay, right now I need to save up for a deposit, but be intentional about building a community and having a network of people. Okay, so now that we have done that, here is the reset I want to leave you with. It's a large project, but it's doable. A little drops of water, they say, make an ocean. So start from where you are, pace yourself, change your money story, and above all, do not limit God. Do not put God in a container. Be very open and flexible and see how God is going to turn around and change things for you. And that's because you have invited Him into this project that you're doing. If you do have a question, a burning question like this, or a challenge that you're currently going through, and you want me to, put in my lens and see what is happening and see how we can help you, please send me a letter. I'm going to put the link in the description below. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to my channel. It's Hello Misola. We look at everyday real issues, real situations that immigrants are currently facing, and I try to prefer solutions on the call so that you get that clarity and you just start moving and get the transformation you need. But other than that, we have come to the end of this video. If you liked this video, please like this video, share it with someone who you know is thinking about, okay, how do I buy a house here? Share it to them because they might need it. And yes, subscribe if you've not subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.